I feel like one of the most worthwhile skill sets you can develop in life is just your ability to listen, which comes when you're present, not operating these future-based propositions that we just talked about.
Yeah.
How have you cultivated that in your life? Because obviously you're very good at it.
Thank you.
Not to keep blowing smoke up your ass, but
I'm getting closer to this trip to the woods. You're good. I would say it's not so much what I cultivated, but it's the absence of something, right? So most people, because cultivation has the underlying sort of implication that it's something I've worked on. And I'd actually say it's the dissolution of something, which was the idea that I was worried about what people think about me. So in the absence of former Peter, like who I thought I was, who I was in my own view of myself as inadequate or self-conscious, then I'm just with you, right? And that's love, right? To me, like I equate listening to love. And why most people can't listen is because they're still subtly or sometimes quite significantly in a place of being so self-aware because they're scared. Right? Think about a kid who's been reprimanded one too many times, then their ability to listen to what their parents saying is so compromised, or it can equally become incredibly vigilant, right? Because they're now so petrified that they don't want to get in trouble, that they're like, okay, what are they about to do or say? Like they are just so aware of their surroundings to the point of like, it's actually a sickness, like the OCD kind of stuff that goes on out there for a lot of people, because they're in such a fight or flight mode. So I would say my listening was the byproduct of the disintegration or the dissolution of the idea that there was anything for me to survive. You got that?
got that.
Yeah. It's a beautiful place to be, because it's not to say that like, because people are like, well, how come you're just so at peace on a stage, or like you're just such a great orator or a great public speaker? And I'm like, well, I wasn't always there. Like it was the absence of me that led to that. It wasn't that I became that. It was the part of me that was previously concerned, or like, am I going to do a good job? Will I be funny? Will they like what I say? Am I saying the right thing? Am I going to get the job? Will I get whatever it is that was a concern or a perceived threat was actually the obstacle to just self-expression.
Yeah.
And this is where I think kids are so beautiful, especially when they're young. You put like a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, 1.5-year-old in a room full of like super successful, brilliant, articulate, talented adults who are like 40 years plus. The kid's going to get all the attention because everybody else is their heirs and graces and their ambassadors are having the conversations like, oh my gosh, did you follow the stock market? And like, isn't it awful what's happening over in, Ukraine or like these conversations, which really underneath it, there's just somebody who just wants to say, you know what, just really struggling at home right now. It's like my kids don't listen to me. Like I think I'm going to get divorced. And it's like, whoa, like, it's like, there's an authenticity that gets someone's attention. Whereas most people are like playing this game of pretense, right? Like, it's like, who do I have to be in order to like feel, going back to that sense of belonging or worth? And so now you've lost relatability. You're not actually being real. And so there isn't a relationship. Like when I share this with people, they're blown away. I'm like, you're not actually in a relationship with your partner. Like, well, what do you mean? We've been together 15 years. I'm like, no, you've had the form of it, but you don't relate to each other. So in the absence of the idea of a part of us that feels the need to survive, garner love or belonging or a sense of worth, once that's dissolved, then all you're left with is presence. And it's like, I'm here with you. And you didn't send me one question. I didn't know what this conversation was going to be. And so far I feel like been pretty decent responses. It's not like I didn't prepare. Now, Peter of young, early 20s, coming out of college, I might have been like, hey, can you send me some of the questions? Because what I would have wanted to do is have good answers. Why? Because I want to make sure that people think I'm really cool, But that wouldn't matter if they thought I was cool or not. Even if they did, I'd still be in a state of suffering because I didn't think I was. And that's why I'm trying to garner it from somebody else.